What's going on, everybody? You are tuned in to the Air to Anchor Report. This is where you get all things New York Jet and Tampa Bay Buccaneer football related, all the latest news, recaps, rumors, all the situations going on with both these teams. No matter if you're a New York Jets fan or if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, we cover both. Right now, today, we're going to dive into the New York Jets going down to Jacksonville, securing a victory down there. A lot of people feeling some type of way about this victory. A lot of people wanted the Jets to go ahead and tank the season. That way we can go ahead and get a higher first round draft pick. But I actually enjoyed the victory. I was at the game. I think it's a good victory that we could build on. For the 20 plus years that I've been a Jets fan, you really can't pin down that the Jets have ever been really a tanking football team. We've been a bad football team, and we definitely lose games and have had numerous amounts of losing seasons. But tanking a season is really not something that we do and that we're known for. So I'm actually okay with the victory. I'll get into a little bit of reasons why. Again, everything on this channel, is news related to, both of these teams. A lot of it is my opinion. At the end of the day, if I give you stats, those stats have been researched. Not going to take you on a ride with giving you false information, but a lot of it is just opinionated. So I just want to be clear on that. Jets got a lot of stuff going on right now. Got a lot of people thinking that they know what's going on behind the scenes with this team. Really, realistically, nobody knows what's going on. There is no GM. There is no coach. A lot of this information that's being leaked, you got to wonder where it's coming from, because normally some of these situations that you've been hearing about right now with guys wanting to leave the team, guys wanting to get traded, really who to bring in, who not to bring in, we really don't know, right? Because that's something that the general manager of the team is going to have his say-so and opinion on, and that's what they're hired for. So, right now everything is all speculation, but again, I'm going to give you some of my keys and some of my opinions on what's going on with this football team, because I am a diehard New York Jet fan, so I really do enjoy, looking at the news right now and covering them and, realistically getting a good look and a good overview on what's really going on with my football team. But let's start here. So New York Jets, they go down to Jacksonville. They secure that victory, 32-25. Really, it snaps the 4-game losing streak that we've been on. They improve their record, if you want to call it an improvement, to 4-10. But, right now, this is one of those where we got to start building a foundation of this team, and there's no better way to do it than with a victory. Key players of the game, Aaron Rodgers, of course, had a pretty good day, 16 for 30 with 289 yards passing, along with 3 touchdowns. Crazy thing is he leads the team that day with 45 yards on the ground, which is insane. Davante Adams, he has a record day, 9 catches, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a crazy pivotal 71-yard touchdown catch with only 3 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Garrett Wilson contribute with a 22-yard touchdown reception. Jets really showing what they could do with that receiving core. Sauce Gardner secures the game with an interception late in the fourth quarter. Really kind of takes the Jaguars out of it. Although, if you really have somebody else back playing quarterback for the Jags, this might be a different game, and I don't know if the Jets actually walk out there with a win. Turning point on the game, though, trailing late in the fourth quarter, Jets basically ignited with a series of explosive plays. Aaron Rodgers connected with Adams for a 71-yard touchdown, leveling the score. Following a defensive stop, Aaron Rodgers comes back out on another drive, gets them all the way down the field, puts a 1-yard touchdown, a touchdown run by Breece Hall, giving the Jets, the lead. Then, looks like the Jags are going to be, pressing us coming down the field, which they do. Get all the way down to inside the 30. Jet fans basically scratching their head like, oh, Lord, here we go again. Mac Jones steps back, throws an interception back into the back of the end zone, right in front of the end zone, right around the 5 to 7 yard line. But Jets seal up the victory. Really what stands out with this game, couple of things. Brian Thompson Jr. For Jacksonville is a complete animal. That kid's going to be good. He's going to be good for years to come. Jags definitely have a receiver there. He basically carved up the Jets. Didn't matter where he was, who you put on him, but he was getting his. I believe he had almost close to 100 yards, if not a little bit shy over, but he did reel in 2 touchdown catches. And I will tell you this, going back to anybody else playing quarterback besides Mac Jones, I don't think the Jets get this victory. You know, Mac Jones, he had himself a pretty decent day, but yet again, he did throw 2 picks, which basically kind of sealed their fate, especially on that last drive. The Jags really could have, put it in the end zone and tied the game up, but, Mac Jones throws an interception. Don't know where he was throwing that ball because it wasn't even anywhere close to his receiver. So, really, when you recap it, everything explosive for Davante Adams, who was just out there eating, happened in the second half. He had 2 really, really big, huge plays, but just the connection between Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, that thing was looking real good last Sunday. And, that's something that these guys can build off of. So let's really kind of focus on, why people wanted the Jets to basically tank, or, why people are a little bit in their feelings with the Jets winning this football game. I understand how important it is to get, a high first-round draft pick. But at the end of the day, you really don't hear the Jets associated with tanking a season. If they lose a game, it's because they lose a game. Usually finding creative ways to lose games or just blowing leads, not necessarily tanking a season. With the front office being blown up, not having a general manager, not having a coach, if you have a first-round draft pick, it really doesn't matter. That's what those guys are put into place for. So tanking a season just to get a higher draft pick sounds great in theory. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You're relying on somebody coming out of college, to be a playmaker and, somebody to get it going right away without really understanding what the NFL is or that kind of transition into the game, because things are just different. Guys are just bigger, stronger, faster. That's just the way it is. But if you get the right general manager in there, you get the right coach in there, it doesn't matter where you pick. You got a first-round pick. Yeah, you really, like some key spots and some key, players that you want to look at. But at the end of the day, you trust them to make the right decision and to go ahead and put the right pieces in place for this football team. My opinion is, and we got to go to this because without a general manager, all the rumors that are coming out right now, what's going on in the Jets organization, nobody really knows anything, right? So with, draft picks, getting a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers leaving, certain guys on the team like Garrett Wilson with these rumors that they're looking for trades, Davante Adams not coming back if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back. All this stuff is speculation. This is stuff that a general manager and a coach need to sit down and really figure out, what is the next steps for this football team. But you can't really make these decisions right now, especially with the general manager not being in place, because these are the kind of things that run by that particular position, and that is the person that's going to make this team better or trade some pieces away to go ahead and fill some spots, and some players that we really need, but doing it strategically in a way of building a franchise. So with everything going on right now and all the rumors, that's all it is. They're all rumors. They're all speculation. I can only give you my opinion, and a lot of what this show is just my opinion as a Jets fan, my opinion as somebody that's trying to cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I will tell you this. My opinion is that Aaron Rodgers does come back next year. And there's a couple of reasons why. The main reason for Aaron Rodgers to come back, I feel, next year is he's not going to allow his legacy to be washed down the drain with this type of outing as his last season of his career. So if anybody knows Aaron Rodgers, super prideful guy, super intelligent guy, he wants his legacy a certain way. He wants people to remember him a certain way. And I highly doubt that walking away or getting ran out of town by the Jets is the way that he wants to do it. That's just not typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, and I can't see him not coming back to run it back and get better with some chemistry built on this team. Number two thing is the chemistry. The offensive line is going to be better coming into next year than it is this year. This offensive line is playing lights out. I want to say Aaron Rodgers right now is about 18th or 19th on the list of quarterbacks most sacked in the NFL. So realistically, the offensive line is actually doing a really good job. Ever since Olu Fashanu has been put into that left tackle spot, really, Aaron Rodgers has been pretty secure back there. He has time to throw. I think if you clock it, he had about 3 seconds each possession when he dropped back to throw during the Jags game. And I get it, it's the Jaguars, but at the end of the day, he only got sacked once. He was only sacked once or twice. He really had time to do what he had to do. I mean, look, he used his legs. He led the team in rushing with 45 yards. The offensive line has just been playing really good. And the one thing that you got to understand is, chemistry is huge. So that same offensive line, which everybody on that line is locked in, I believe, except one person, to come back next year, the chemistry on that line is just going to be better, which is really going to allow for Aaron Rodgers to kind of figure out what kind of quarterback he can be coming into a new season after this one, and really trying to focus and figure out how do I play as the quarterback that I am now to go ahead and put us in better situations and not have to really do too much, because I am not the Aaron Rodgers that I was 3, 4, 5 years ago. So number 3, for Aaron Rodgers to come back, this is going to be a good segue for him to figure out next season how to really kind of play with this injury that he came off of with that torn Achilles. It's not very easy to come back from something like that. And the speed and how Aaron Rodgers came back to play this year, was really magnificent on what he did on the offseason. So, there wasn't really much chemistry there to be built on the offseason dealing with that injury because he was in rehab. So Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys where he's intelligent enough to know that right now he can sit back, reset, kind of think about what kind of quarterback he's going to be coming into the new year, and then just really kind of reboot from there and figure out, how do I make this team better? So I really think Aaron Rodgers runs it back. If you look at the quarterbacks that are out there right now that are going to be free agents, you got Sam Darnold out there. I think you got Marcus Mariota. A lot of people are throwing Justin Fields' name around. Jameis Winston's going to be a free agent. And then I think you got Russell Wilson as well. So those are the guys that, you can actually throw out there that are worth talking about. But in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers gives you the best chance to win out of all those guys lined up, and if you put him in a lineup, who do you want? So I think with him coming back, building that chemistry, figuring out how to be the quarterback he needs to be now with that type of injury, he looked good versus the Jags. I mean, he climbed the pocket really well, got out of harm's way, scrambled, ran the ball, picked up some pivotal first downs to keep the chains moving. And his accuracy, granted it was less than 50%, but, or right at 50%, still, he hit some really, really, really tight windows to be able to make some really magnificent throws to Davante Adams. Excuse me. To Davante Adams. And, really with just those two, you're going to get what you get with them. And the more that comes back together, the better it's going to be. So I really think Aaron Rodgers runs it back. The other situation with that is, excuse me. The other situation with that is the Jets have really been eyeing Drew Allard. Now, Drew Allard just announced, 2 days ago, he's going to run it back at Penn State. So we knew we weren't going to get the 2 best quarterbacks coming out of the draft, because with the Giants being up there with the Raiders possibly being up there, with the Jags being up there, which I don't really think they're going to be looking for a quarterback with Trevor Lawrence. You got to see what he looks like coming back off this concussion injury. But Jets knew they weren't going to take a quarterback because they weren't going to get those two guys. The one that may have fell to us would have possibly been Drew Allar, and we may have got him in the second round. Now, if that's the case, this quarterback drafting class right now is really not that great. So, I mean, Jalen Milrose, I believe, he's kind of tossing, whether or not he's going to go back and run it back again and stay in college. So, really there's not much to choose from. So the Jets are in a good situation because now they don't have to make that decision to just get Drew Allar because so many people were hyped up on him. And, really he would have been the best pick that we probably could have got. The Jets don't need to do that. So now what we can do is just focus on what we need to focus on, which is rebuilding this defensive line, getting some more pieces in place on the secondary, and then, just trying to figure out who are the best people on the board and taking the best players on the board, knowing that we don't need to go after a quarterback because Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year, and he can be that bridge to basically say, okay, what do we do? Do we allow this kid from FSU, our quarterback, name will come, Jordan Travis? Do we coach him up and see what he's going to give us as the future? Or do we wait for the 2026 draft and then figure out, okay, where are these quarterbacks? Because it might be a little bit more quarterback heavy to say, all right, do we take a quarterback now? But Jets have some options, and I really like the option of Aaron Rodgers coming back. That's just my personal opinion. And right now, nobody really knows what's going on because that's going to be a choice for the general manager to make. And, if they restructure Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams' contract, it does not make sense to bring them back and just be a better football team from one year to the next with that chemistry being built and getting the Jets, with a little bit more, team gelling. Right now, that locker room is very fragile, so there's no better way to galvanize it, with a win. So, the Jets could possibly string along a couple of wins coming up. And if they do that, that's really how you kind of set the morale, and kind of take the foundation and build off of that coming into next year, and then just figure out where your pieces are needed from there, and really kind of strengthen up that defense. Because if you really look at it, the defense has really kind of been the reason why the Jets have been put in these kind of situations of losing some of these football games. So, that's another segue and that's another story for, another time. But, I just wanted to make sure that I jumped on, still created a little bit of content for you guys. I know the game was over a little while ago, but tune in because Friday I will go ahead and give you the shorts on what the keys to victory are for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are in right now playing phenomenal football. If you didn't see my last show on them and how they just completely demolished the Chargers, go check that video out. Like, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok at the Air to Anchor Report. That's where you're going to get a couple of the shorts that I've been putting together for Keys to Victory. Follow me on YouTube. You got the Air to Anchor Report. Our Instagram page is Air to Anchor. Once you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Jet player together, that's when you got the right page. But other than that, we really appreciate the time. Really appreciate everything. Like I said, like, subscribe. Get this channel going. I know it's going to take some time, but I'm here for the long haul, continuing to give you guys this content, and I hope you enjoy it. So, we out.